What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Brandon's Face. It's the podcast about a playlist. I'm Jonathan Beardsley.
And I am Brandon May.
Brandon May. Sorry, man. I was watching House Bunny this week, and I've been doing that to everybody's fucking name.
Certified classic, bro.
Bro, the bring your own mouse idea was legitimately great, and I'm bummed nobody took it seriously.
Oh my god, man. It's funny because my boy and I used to watch that movie all the time. And that shit is so funny. Every once in a while I'll text him and just say, I'm allergic to azithromycin.
Yes. This, for those listening, this is a pro The House Bunny starring Anna Faris podcast.
Yeah, if you're not a fan of the House Bunny, you might not be a fan of us.
Well, you might be. Thank you all for tuning in. We have a lot of great music to talk about this week, but before we get into that, I wanted to have a little pre-show chat. One, because we have not in a while, and two, because it's the week of Coachella, and you are as close to the epicenter of the festival as you can possibly get without being at it. So with it starting tomorrow, what's it like out there right now? Like, can you feel it?
Yes, the energy is palpable, and so is the dust, as is tradition during Coachella Day Zero. We have a lot of wind out here in the valley. I was, if anybody's ever been here, you can tell you know that the mountains are obviously picturesque in whatever direction you decide to look.
Mm-hmm.
On my way home today, I could see zero mountains. So
of course. So, to that note, are you noticing a lot more people in the area already too?
Yeah, so I was on my way to work this morning, 5:45 a.m., driving down 52nd. I drive by the polo fields every day. Line was wrapped around the corner for camping, and it just warms my heart, man. It just warms my heart.
Did you ever camp?
No, I've never camped because I've always lived here, and like, why would I camp when I have my own bed and my own shower at home? You know?
Wow, shade to me because I did camp there once while living there.
Honestly, I kind of regret that I never did because it really is the best experience. But
honestly, I kind of regret that I did. It was not the best experience. It was so dirty. I feel like if you have the right facilities and have prepared correctly, then it wouldn't be bad. But yeah, man, I did not personally love it. I ended up having to take like a car home, I think Saturday or Sunday morning just to shower and stuff. It was getting pretty rough.
Yeah, we always had people staying with us, so we ended up, having to share our one shower in our one bedroom apartment or whatever. But it was always a lot better, I think, than having to wait in line to shower in a porta shower.
Yeah.
And then
now you're getting too old, so now you can't do it, right?
Right. And then also I drive by a couple of dispensaries on my way to work, and I saw a lot of people at the dispensary. So thanks for shopping local, everybody.
Yeah, shout out those people. Has there been a buzz like among the locals you talk to or work with this year?
Yes and no. It really depends. Some people are saying that the lineup is garbage. The people who are kind of like into music as a whole are like, I need to see the Chemical Brothers, and
as they should.
It's one of those things that we have a few of my coworkers going a weekend too, which is great. But yeah, man, it's been kind of a, well, if I get a free ticket, I'll go. And a lot of people end up getting free tickets. So
yeah. I mean, I feel like it's so easy to be desensitized to Coachella living out there. I know I was by like 2 or 3 years living out there.
Right. I've been to 9 of them. So
yeah, this isn't a Stone Roses headliner. This isn't a bad lineup as far as I'm concerned.
No, there's a lot of people that have been like, I mean, I really want to see Rosalia and Bad Bunny, which is awesome. If they happen to get in for those sets, good for them.
Yes, I agree. Fence jump if you have to. Of the people going, who are they most excited to see this year?
I have hyped everybody up on the Chemical Brothers. I introduced
of course
at least 4 people to the Chemical Brothers, and they didn't really, they had kind of heard, Block Rock and Beats,
Mm-hmm.
but they had never like dived in. And so I created a playlist for some of the guys at work, and every once in a while I'll walk by and we have speakers playing, and people we let people bump music as loud as they really want to, and Yeah, every once in a while,
Yep.
I'll swing by and I'll hear some Chemical Brothers coming out of the room, and I'll be like, "Yep, that's that." And then also Boris Brejcha.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good recommendation. That one, I feel like, especially to people who have not been in a EDM like atmosphere a lot of times, that'll be a great show.
Well, one of these guys, shout out to Edwin here. He asked me last year when he went. He was like, "Who's the must see?" And I was like, "Bro, last year, in last year's lineup, I was like, dude, do not miss Duck Sauce." And so he didn't. He went and came back from the festival and was like, "Turns out I like EDM."
Dude,
So
duck sauce fucking rules.
right. So he came up to me today and was like, "Hey, bro, can you help me fill in some of these gaps?" And I was like, "Yeah, bro, go see Sasha and Digweed."
Another fucking great recommendation. So, other than the Chemical Brothers, as somebody streaming, who are you most excited for?
I really want to see. I really want to see Eric Prydz, the Hollow Show.
Yes. Fuck yeah.
I'm excited to record Frank Ocean for you, so you have whatever performance he puts on Sunday cemented in stone. I am excited to watch Benny. Benny is me and my wife. We're both pretty stoked to get that set like right away. And then I am
Pretty fucking
so
rad.
so curious how big Knock Loose's crowd is going to be.
I am very curious about that as well. I think that outside of the obvious acts I'm looking forward to, there's a lot of potential moments that I'm looking forward to. I
Right.
think Calvin Harris dropping Miracle is going to be a moment. What Frank Ocean will or won't do is going to be a moment. KAYTRAMINE has to bring out a Mine, right?
I mean, at this point, since the project has been announced and a single was dropped last week, yes, I would say he'd be dumb to not promote that new project of his.
Yes. As you mentioned, what Hollow is going to look like at Coachella, that should be interesting. We're going to have as good of a view as everybody there because they're all going to be watching it through their phone.
What do
Put
you
your
mean, bro?
phones down,
What do
people.
you mean? Yeah,
Dude, I've
live in
been
the
to a few
moment.
concerts these past few years, big and small, and it's pervasive. I'll tell you that.
Live in the moment, people. If you're listening to this, just hit us up on Instagram, and I'll send you a Google Drive link for whatever set you're looking for.
Yup.
And then there's one other set that I'm really excited to stream.
Who's
I
that?
hope people show up to the set, although it's unlikely with who they're stacked up against. Tobe Nwigwe.
Oh, fuck yeah. Dude, Toby's gonna have a crowd, trust me.
I
And
sure hope so,
he's
man.
been teasing that he's got something special planned for this show, which I do not doubt.
His road to
Um,
Tobechella YouTube show is fun.
and we'll be talking about a new Toby song here pretty soon. I feel like Rosalia has to bring out her fiance Raul to perform probably all of RR, right?
It's got to be right. It's only what 20 minutes or so. So
It's three songs, yeah,
right.
and they're all fantastic. I was gonna say Porter's Final Nurture show, but he posted today, the set times came out, and we'll get into that. Like, main stage 4:15, very excited. Dot dot dot. This might not be the final nurture show, and I have some theories as to why. We can get into that in a little bit. The list of potential moments goes on, but moments aside, let's take a look at this year's set times and give some of our personal recommendations, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it, man.
Okay, so Friday, what time are you getting there? You don't have to pick somebody from 12 on. What time are you getting there?
A lot. There's been a lot of buzz in the underground about Kyle Watson, so I would get there at probably about 1 o'clock, so I could apply sunscreen on the festival, in the line for the Yuma or in the beer garden, so I could grab a fresh afternoon crispy boy to
I
see
love
Kyle
that.
Watson at 2 p.m.
All right, I will get there at 2 p.m. with you, put on sunscreen, get a little bit of a buzz on, and then I think from there, I think the move is catch the end of Dami and JD Beck and wait for Benny.
Yeah, I think Benny's definitely the next move for sure.
Yep. And Benny over Saba and Dochi is not easy, but I think Benny's the move there, and probably geographically that's smart too. You wouldn't be walking too far.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where hip hop has always been weird live for me.
Hmm.
Everybody can hate me if they want for that, but I love Run the Jewels and I loved watching them live. But they're just yelling into microphones. So everybody can hate me if they want, man, but I cannot stand rap live, except for obviously a notable handful of shows I've seen. So I think it was pretty easy over both of those for me to go see, for me to check out Benny.
I would usually agree with you, but I saw Mine twice last year, and that guy is phenomenal live. Let me see. Okay, so Benny wraps up 4:25. Say you stick around for the whole thing or leave a few minutes early. I think from there, my move would want to be to go catch Pusha T. What about you?
Yeah, I'd want to go see Push, but I definitely need to get to Vintage Culture back at the Sahara, so it's going to have to be Vintage Culture.
This is where shit gets messy, because Magdalena Bay, Tobe, Vintage Culture, all around the same time.
Yep.
If I'm there, I might go catch a minute of Push, maybe go grab another beer, miss Push, and get a good spot for Magdalena Bay. They're my pick. Are you going Vintage Culture over Mag and Tobe?
There are spots in the beer garden where you can get a beer and watch Push, at least from my recollection. So maybe that's the move. Maybe hit the beer garden to the right-hand side of the main stage, grab a beer, cheers a little bit, walk by Magdalena Bay on our way to Vintage Culture.
Dude, no, I can't walk by Magdalena Bay. I would miss Push to get a good spot for them if it was B. But all right, let's say catch some of Magdalena Bay on the way to Vintage Culture if you're not a hard Magdalena Bay stan like I am. Vintage Culture, you got to get in the Sahara. You got to get your feet wet, right?
Right.
All right, so Vintage Culture is the perfect fucking way to do that. He wraps at 6:15. I think I'm going to sprint to SG Lewis and give the middle finger to Blink-182. What about you?
All right, so this might be a divisive opinion, but I've seen Blink-182 twice. I've seen them with Tom, I've seen them without Tom, and they were better with Matt, but they're still not really that good. So
thank you.
Like
if you've never seen Travis Barker drum, sure, watch him. Why the Sahara?
Right.
Why is this happening?
Honestly, I think it's because Emo Night went so big last year in the Sahara and Sahara, whatever. And honestly, I mean, it was probably the only spot where they could push people and people wouldn't be mad.
Okay, fair. All right, so let's say we get there at some point during SG Lewis, catch all of his set. I think I'm staying put and maybe going to grab some food before KAYTRAMINE. Are you going anywhere else during that time?
No, I would probably go with you to grab some food to get a spot for Gorillas. I think that's the move there, right? Get some food.
Okay, so Gorillas after KAYTRAMINE, those stages are pretty close. That lines up. I'm interested in Jamie Jones, but not more than the Gorillas. Okay, so Gorillas goes straight up to Chemical Brothers, and Chemical Brothers. Are you going to go Bad Bunny or are you going Maceo?
Definitely Maceo Plex. I love Bad Bunny, don't get me wrong. I think that his show is going to be epic. I've seen Maceo Plex in the Yuma tent. I saw him close the Yuma tent in 2016, and I would go see it again. That's how good it was. So
I'm going with you. Like I like a Bad Bunny song or two. I think he's a hell of an artist. I'll probably catch some of it after Maceo raps. I'm sure he'll still be going for a little bit. Yep. But yeah, I think Maceo Friday night to close the Yuma is definitely the move. Yeah, if you're a big hip hop fan, the Metro Boomin set probably going to have Travis Scott, those types of guys at it, right?
I think Weekend is confirmed for this weekend.
He is, and I'm guessing that's it. That's got to be, right?
He's not on the lineup, and there's no other spot to put him unless he wants to come out and do a duet with Bad Bunny, which is unlikely. So we're calling it Metro Boomin.
I was thinking the ultimate 2010s R&B, and it's something with him and Frank, but that doesn't make sense. Like, it makes zero sense. I think him doing Creep with like P. Diddy and Metro Boomin is probably the most likely scenario.
Yeah, I would be very surprised if it was anything but that.
And that song fucking rules, so
yeah, for sure.
I would not be against that.
For sure.
All right, let's move on to Saturday.
That's a good Friday, bro.
That's a hell of a Friday. That's a hell of a Friday. To summarize, we're going Kyle Watson, Benny, Push, Mag, maybe a second of Tobe on the way to Vintage Culture. SG Lewis, Kaytranada, Gorillas, Chemical Brothers, Maceo Plex. That's fucking excellent.
That is
Great job, Coachella.
yeah, that is worth the $200 for that day.
We
Easy.
do not have the Do Lab in front of us either, and a lot of those are surprises.
Right.
If you can't, if you're in the Do Lab and you're very close, Flight Facilities are playing that night, so definitely recommend them.
Yeah, definitely, but it's not a
But
live
not over
set.
Chemical Brothers.
They're playing at the same time as the Chemical Brothers, and I've never seen Flight Facilities, but I've seen the Chemical Brothers 3 times, and if I could make it a fourth, I think you know that I would.
I'm gonna be like Ryan in The Office. This isn't how Flight Facilities would want me to see them, man.
This is how Smokey would have wanted it, man.
It's not how
Paul
Smoke Man would
Anka.
have wanted it. That's exactly it, dude. All right, let's move on to Saturday. I'm looking at the lower names, and Loop Daddy's the first one catching my eye. What about you?
So Scowl is a pretty good hardcore band, and I guess this
Oh,
is
okay.
a personal Coachella story time here. Every time we would go with a
Hit me.
group, I would annoy the shit out of all of the girls by saying, It's 10:30. We need to be there in 30 minutes. The gates open in 30 minutes." And if I was able to be there early enough, Scowl is the first set that I would go see. However, it's definitely got to be Loop Daddy, man. If I'm not there to see Scowl, I mean, I'm there at the main stage, getting my neck all sunburnt just to dance around with Loop Daddy.
I fucking agree. That's gonna be so much fun, dude. I think that I wish he was on a little bit later for a bigger crowd, but that might don't even be too big. I think that's gonna be the perfect spot for him.
I thought it was a no-brainer to put him in the Sahara. It really didn't matter what time he played. I expected it to be kind of early, but like at the main stage at 3 p.m., that's a shaft. Like,
Yeah, it's a rough
personally.
spot. It's a rough spot to be in, man. No, but it's a rough spot.
I
But
will
I
say
think he's gonna make the most of it.
I saw Circa survive at a very similar time frame on the main stage, and Anthony Green called us sun babies and told us to roast. So
Yep.
it could be a good spot. He could have some fun with it.
They played Children of the Desert at Coachella. That's fucking awesome, man. Circus Survive fucking rules.
Yeah, that was a very good time.
It was. Most of I think you can find that whole set on YouTube. So you're gonna have to miss Snail Mail, which that great show, I'm sure. Flo Milli, I'm not that interested in. Kenny Beats in the Sahara is interesting to me. Where are you going after Loop Daddy?
I think I would go see the first 20 minutes of Earth Gang and then bounce over to Kenny Beats if time permitted. Earth Gang is going to be a fucking party, I think. And Kenny Beats is going to be a really good time. I think he posted something about bringing your best friends, and he's bringing his, and I'm sure that's going to be a good time. But I think Earth Gang's album last year was so good. I think I wouldn't want to miss whatever they have planned. You know?
Yeah. I think Kenny, I mean, I'm thinking Vince, Denzel, Benny. There's a lot of potential for
Right.
Kenny Guess, Dominic Fike. All right, so let's say around 5-ish. Middle of the day here, we got Charlie on the main, Linda Linda's in the Sonara, Muramasa in the Mojave, Elderbrook, and DJ Tennis and Carlita back to back. Where are you going?
This is my first like major huge conflict area. If I were at this festival, it would be a very difficult choice. I want to see Charlie. I want to see the Linda Lindas. I want to see Elderbrook, and I want to see DJ Tennis in the Yuma. I would have a very hard time choosing, and it would honestly probably depend on how many drinks I've had in me already and how badly I want to run over to the Yuma. You know?
Yeah, I agree. I think that for convenience sake, I would probably take my time and get to Charlie, watch her stuff, and just get a good spot for Rosalia, which is at 7. I'm trying to think. Are you going to Rosalia as well, or are you going elsewhere there?
The Breeders are a pretty good band, which I think are playing at a reasonable
Similar.
time. But so let's say, I mean, it really depends on what I did first, right? If I went to Elderbrook and I left you at Charlie, I would probably meet you back at Rosalia. If I went to DJ Tennis, I'm staying in the Yuma to see Jan Blomqvist for sure.
Gotcha. Okay. And that wraps at 8. Rosalia wraps at 8:10. I think that's the move. I do
Yeah.
Charlie Rosalia. You'll probably do Tennis and Blomqvist. Maybe, maybe not. But we go from there. You might catch some of Elderbrook as well. From
Yep.
there, are you going to see the elusive Jai Paul perform his first set ever or what? I'm joking.
Yeah. Hard pass.
All right. So around 8, we got Tale of Us starting up. Boy Genius 8:10. Uh,
Who Made Who in the Yuma? Look, man, it's between Boy Genius and Tale of Us. I like Who Made Who, don't get me wrong, but it's between Tale of Us and Boy Genius.
I'm
Tale
doing
of
Boy
U-
Genius.
I think I'm doing Tale of Us. I think
I mean, I get it.
Saturdays.
I get it.
I think I'm doing Tale of Us. I mean, it's fuck, man. I like Boy Genius a lot. We just reviewed their album last week.
Hmm.
Pretty sure we both gave it an 8. Like,
Yep. Yep. No, I
fuck,
fucking love that album, man.
that's a hard time, man. And it's right after the sun goes down, the festival starts to change. You know, oh man, that really is a tough choice, man. It really depends on a number of factors. How close am I to the Sahara tent? You know.
Yeah, see, this is Saturday night, which let's keep in mind where you're going to be um in terms of influences and other things in your system. I think I might just do like Boy Genius. I might even just wander into Blackpink for the hell of it and then do Eric Pride. But I don't know, man. You know me, I'm kind of random like that. Underworld's fucking sick, and I would love to catch some of Underworld live if possible.
Right.
But I think your end goal is Eric Pride's, right?
For
Pride's.
sure.
Okay, so are you doing Tale of Us till 9 and then random bullshit until Eric pretty much?
I think you and I are going to be meeting up at if I were to do Tale of Us, which let's be real, I would probably be influenced by whatever I had ingested to do that. I would probably meet you after Tale of Us at speaker A6, and then you and I would go get a good spot for Eric Prydz whenever about 25 minutes before he starts.
Yeah, and I'll let you know how Blackpink was at that point.
Exactly. Look, man, I'm super interested in it. I watched their set. I think it was 2018, 2019, one of those.
Yep.
And it was a good time. I don't really know any of their music. I'm a big fan of Prydz, and I've been listening to Tale of Us for a long time. So
all right. So an imperfect recap of our Saturday is Scal, Loop Daddy, some of Earth Gang, maybe Kenny Beats, DJ Tennis and Jon, Charlie Rosalia, Boy Genius for me, Tale of Us for you, random bullshit Eric Prydz.
Yep. That's it. That's Saturday.
Got it. That sounds like a usual Saturday. Kind of aimless. That'll give you some time to look at the installation.
Right. Yeah. I'll probably be focused on them.
All right. Sunday, low key my favorite day every time I've gone. There's something about the vibe on Sunday where everybody's exhausted, but just like wants to have a good last day together that I think always carries me through. What about you?
I will never forget. I think it was 2014. It could have been 2013. Walking like to the outdoor theater. It's like 102 degrees, and I ran into my buddy Mason, and Mason was like, I was like, "Where are you going?" He was like, "I'm going to see Jimmy Eat World," and I was like, Funny you should say. I'm on my way there too. He brought like 4 blankets with him, and it was great. We set up in the shade. We watched Jimmy Eat World fucking kill it on the outdoor stage in the middle of the day. We smoked a bunch of weed. Yeah. It was Sunday is the let's ingest nothing but cannabis and water and relax all day.
Exactly. That's why it's my favorite. That's more
right.
My vibe. All right, let's get into Sunday. I think I'm kicking off LPGOB in the Yuma at 2:00.
Got to. You're not missing LPGOB set. If I were there, I'm not missing LP.
All right, that wraps at 3. Are you doing El Michel's Affair or IDK?
I might go to Stick Figure, man.
Where's that at? Oh,
outdoor.
Okay. I'm unaware. Who's Stick Figure?
Reggae band. They're pretty good. I think I might listen to Stick Figure as I hydrate and also drink some crispy Heinekens at the beer garden right there.
That sounds good because I'm gonna probably chill until Porter. I'm not missing that despite this time slot being bullshit. Let me tell you why I think
What
that
a
this is.
terrible time slot for
Yeah.
Porter.
We were talking a little bit about this earlier, but let me elaborate here. So, Porter is on the main stage at 4:45 on Sunday, and his music sure is like kind of lo-fi and might fit that time perfectly. But
Depending
that
on
stage
the song.
exactly. But that stage at that time is going to have a lot of foot traffic and a lot of people that are waiting for later acts that are completely unrelated to his music. I think people seeing him during the day without his full lights and production and hearing his like weird pitched vocals are going to be kind of turned off personally. And I don't think that's because of him. I think his fans are still going to love it regardless. I would. But it kind of fucking sucks because this has been advertised as his last US Nurture show. And I think the only reason he would go back on that now is because he does not like the time slot. What do you think?
Yeah, I think they shafted him. I think they really. I don't know, man. I think that it was really rude almost to put him there. They could have put him like literally like in the Mojave or something, which is the old Sahara, which he has played a number of times. He did his world set there, and even before that in 2012, he did some Spitfire EP stuff back then in the Sahara. And if they had put him in the Mojave, I think it would have worked better. Even like at that time, like if they had switched Porter and Weighs Blood, I think that would have been honestly perfect. But not my monkey, not my zoo, I guess.
Yeah, I like that. I've never heard that before. Yeah, so that aside though, I would be fucking stoked to see him and I would watch him into Caliuchis, who's another person who's been very vocal about how mad she is about these set times. Apparently, she was told this whole time she was going to be performing later in the day when it was darker, had her whole light show based around this. These are the lights, I think, for her upcoming tour, and she was going to debut all of this at this show with all the production behind it and the appropriate dimness in the sky. And now she got told the day of set times coming out that she's being pushed up to 6. Obviously, it's still a pretty good set time for her, but it's gonna take away a lot of the effects and production that I think she was looking to show off for this. And I think a lot of that has to do with this like hour and a half of dead time that they're giving before Frank Ocean. I
Yeah,
don't know if they pushed these people earlier because of more acts or if they really pushed them because of just what would you call this? Like an anticipatory pause in the music?
I would I would say either his set is like his stage production is extremely elaborate, or they're letting people get things out of the way before they basically completely shut down the festival for Frank. I mean,
Yeah.
if you look at the set times, they're up on the screen. If you're watching on YouTube, uh, Frank Ocean is playing at
10:05.
10:05. He'll have 2 hours, you know, to play. The festival is a sharp cutoff at midnight.
Hmm.
They've fined people before, and yeah, I think they're shutting down the festival at midnight. I think that they're I don't know, man. I don't really get it. His set production has to be either extremely elaborate or it's they're giving people time to go get whatever they have in their system out of it before a very quiet set, which Frank Ocean is going to be a quiet set, right?
Hmm.
But do they really have to close down like the entire festival? Even like the Doolab has an hour gap.
Yeah, man. It's interesting. There could be a surprise somewhere in there. I doubt it, but there could be. Um, Getting back on track though, I think I'm going Porter, Cali. Are you sticking for Cali or are you going to Sasha and Digweed?
I'm most definitely going to be a Sasha and Digweed. I'm sorry, Caliuchis, but Legends are playing.
I think you're fine there. She wraps up 40 minutes before they're done, so I'm actually probably going to go to Dominic Fike after her, which would wrap at 7:40. Where are you going after? I guess they would wrap about the same time as Sasha and Digweed. So we're both out around 7:40. Where are we going from there?
You and I are going to go to the main stage beer gardens, have a beer, and listen to the sweet, soft sounds of Bjork.
Okay, sounds good. Um,
Yep.
Bjork to beers. That's fun, man.
I'm
Um,
going to exit the Yuma tent as Sasha and Digweed completely destroys my brain chemistry, and you're going to meet me there, and we are going to have a beer at the main stage. I think that's perfect.
I love it. Uh, Other than maybe you go and Adam Bayer, is the wrap up Bjork, Knocked Loose, Fisher, Chris Lake, Frank Ocean, Boris Brejcha?
That's most definitely it, man. I've seen
Okay.
Adam Bayer. I'm good on it. I think he does a great set, and I am always paying attention to him and his label. Um, I definitely think that I want to catch a little bit of Fish or Chris Lake. I want to catch a lot of bit
Yeah.
of Knocked Loose. If
Hmm.
anything, I mean, it's our last chance to rage in a mosh pit on a Sunday at Coachella for Knocked Loose, and then hit Fisher and Chris Lake, and then Frank, and then Boris. But can we talk for a moment how they put Gordo closing the Yuma? None of that
Yeah,
makes
that's a
any
weird
sense
move.
to me. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Sasha and Digweed should be closing it.
It just doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. It doesn't. I agree.
Oh well.
To wrap up, our Sunday would be LPGOB into Stick Figure into Porter Robinson, Caliuchis for me, Sasha and Digweed for you, Dominic Fike for me. We're gonna go to Bjork, Knocked Loose, Fisher back to back with Chris Lake at the outdoor, Frank Ocean on the main, and then Boris Brejcha until they kick us out.
Honestly, they only gave Boris 40 minutes for his set. He's barely going to be like into his set at that moment. I really hope they pull that back a little bit and give him like an hour at the very least. If they can give him an hour and 15, I think that would really let him set us up for the journey. Cuz like we've said a number of times when we review his like even just like singles, this man just takes you on a fucking journey. And if he can't properly set that up, I don't think that it's going to be I don't think it's going to live up to his level of production if you catch my drift.
We'll see. As long as he plays Black Unicorn, I do not care.
There you go.
All right. For those of you going, hope you have fun. Let us know in the comments how your time was. On to some housekeeping notes. If you like the
Yes.
show, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. If you're on YouTube, give this video a thumbs up. And last but not least, follow the playlist that this whole podcast is based on. You can find the link to that in the show notes. Anything else?
No, I think we're good.
Okay, with all of that out of the way, we can begin this week's episode, starting with a new one from Excision, Wooli, and the Devil Wears Prada called Reasons. I fucking loved this one, man. It was my runner-up for Song of the Week. It's perfectly balanced as far as these types of collaborations go, and I would not mind hearing a few more collaborations between these artists together. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, man. This is super fucking interesting. I've never been the biggest fan of Wooli, and you can hear kind of his influence a little bit on that second drop. But I really like Excision and the Devil Wears Prada influence. I love when the kind of drums do their thing, and then Mike's vocals sound fucking great. It really took me back. It made me listen to the Suicide Season from Bring Me the Horizon reconfigured
Mm-hmm.
with what is it, Tech One and Skrillex and
Yep.
all those fun artists. Man, it was a good time. It was a good time listening
What
to
a
that.
time. What a time.
Yep.
Moving on, we got a new one from Underworld called And the Color Red. I had a feeling we'd be getting some new music from them after seeing them on the Coachella lineup.
Right.
They could easily hold that spot with their existing discography, but having a new track like this to work in is even better. And what a fucking track it is, man. It's a throwback to the like more bare bones EDM that you and I grew up on, but it's full of all the little things that make Underworld the legends they are. I'm a big fan of this one. What about you?
Yeah, this is a banging tech house tune, released just in time for the lead up to Coachella. I hope I hear it dropped at this set, along with a lot of other tunes of theirs. This is some good shit, man.
Agree. Moving on, we got a new one from Dillon Francis and INJI called Pretty People. What are your thoughts on this one?
Another INJI feature. This is the second one
Yeah.
we've covered, and both have been pretty good. This is an interesting track for me. It's kind of like a blend of eras for Mr. Francis, which I personally enjoyed.
Uh, I thought it was a decent instrumental. I thought that the mindless hook on it wasn't doing a lot for me, but the artwork for this single being a variation of the last two singles he's dropped as
Right.
Dillon Francis is starting to make me think that these are part of an album rollout.
We'll see.
I don't think he's dropped an album under his like Dillon Francis name since 2021, but released an excellent project as DJ Hansel earlier this year. I wasn't really expecting him to follow that up so soon
Right?
with new music of his own, but if he wants to drop two albums this year, I'm here for it.
Yeah, man. I saw this and I was like, really? Is he that busy?
Yeah, apparently so. Apparently so. All right, man. Talk to me about this new one from Elohim called Breathe.
Did you not hear the feed me energy in this track, John?
I did.
Oh my God. This might be one of my favorite Elohim songs.
It's a fucking banger.
It's incredible. It's
Dude,
so good.
I think this is one of the best songs that she's dropped in a while, and that's saying a lot.
Yeah, she really did it this time.
Um, is she going to put out a fucking album or something soon? I feel like we've been covering nothing but like singles and features of her since we've been doing this.
I fucking hope so, man. I love the majority of her projects, and God, I gotta shout out the Glitch Mob for a sec because they featured her on their album See Without Eyes, and my wife and I would not know about Elohim if it were not for that feature and the fact that they had her open up for them during that tour for that album. So shout out there, and my man, this song got me. This was on repeat all week.
Yeah, it's a fantastic one. Not your song of the week?
No, I've got one other one that I was just like, damn. We'll
All
get to it
right.
soon.
Okay. All right. Moving on to this new one from Jamie Jones and Channel Tress called Got Time for Me. This one is every bit as exquisite as I thought it would be when I saw the two names attached to it. Instant vibe, perfect collaboration. How are you feeling about
The
it?
perfect collaboration are my notes, man. This collab needs to happen way more often. Just like you, I saw on my little notification bell on Spotify. I was like, Jamie Jones and Channel Trace, let's go.
Yup. That'd be fun if Jamie Jones brought out Channel for a little appearance at Coachella.
Honestly, I wouldn't doubt it. I think he's playing a side party out here in Palm Springs, so it might not be likely, but it is more than possible.
It's on the table.
Yep.
Moving on to this new one from Alesso and Ty Dolla Sign called Caught a Body. The EDM blogs have been losing their fucking shit over this one since it dropped at Ultra, and I agree it's good, but I also think it's a little generic. What are your thoughts on it?
I haven't seen any talk about this, so I just gave my opinion, which is the hook is catchy and Alesso's production is fine, but I kind of don't like this track that much.
Yeah, I kind of in the same spot.
That's where I'm at.
Let's move on to some R&B. We got a track from Kiana, Lede, and Ella May called Jealous. Kiana hasn't dropped an album since we started doing this podcast, but the few singles of hers that we've covered have all been excellent. It's awesome hearing her with another top-tier R&B artist like Ella. It's a great collab, and it puts her in close company with her peers as far as I'm concerned. No album announcement yet, but I think we're heading towards one. What did you think of this one? I know you like Ella.
Yeah, my notes say both Kiana and Ella have such beautiful voices.
Yeah, gorgeous, man. Fucking
Straight
love this
up.
one. Got a new one from Emotional Oranges and Tkay Maidza called Be Somebody. Really digging this one, man. Fun instrumental, great back and forth. I liked it. What about you?
My man, I really like this one. The production is phenomenal, and Tkay has that bounce that is just like unmistakable at this point. So
Yep.
let's go, man. This was a great track.
All right, man. We have a new one from Amine and KAYTRAMINE, who are calling their group KAYTRAMINE, and this one's featuring Pharrell. It's called Forever. You already know that I love this one. It's my fucking song of the week. Their new album that's scheduled to be released on May 12th went straight to my top of like my most anticipated list after its announcement last week. I'm fucking stoked on this one. I've played this one at least like 3 times a day since it's dropped. Are you enjoying it?
John, this song is also my song of the week. This project is going to be so much fun. I've been on and off about KAYTRAMINE's production for like a long time. You and I have talked about this a number of times on the podcast, but man, this is great, dude. I'm really excited for this project.
Yeah. Everyone should just clear the way for that one.
Yeah.
And it's coming pretty soon. Less like a little under a month away now.
That's how you do an album rollout. You don't announce it 6 months ahead of time. You go, hey, I'm dropping in a month. Here's a track.
Yep. They put out a music video and there's a little snippet of another new song at the end of it.
Nice.
Very excited for this whole project.
Nice.
Moving on, we got a new one from Tobe and Nwigwe called Bravo. Talk to me about this one.
God damn, this is a minute and a half of Tobe just being him.
Yep.
And oh man, I honestly I couldn't stop listening to this track all week, but it's just the guy has a way with words. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
He does. And I want to talk about that because, first of all, this track is fucking hard. It's incredible. His flow is impeccable. It's great. I'm looking forward to seeing him perform this one at Coachella on the stream. Right. But this is also one of those tracks that shows you that delivery and tone is everything. Because I think if Drake said that Usher, My Way, Frank Sinatra line, it would be corny as hell. But Tobe says it, and it's fucking poetry.
Straight up. I have been all week. I've been saying, like, I've been just like to myself. I've been thinking because I'm way up. You know, like.
Yep. Of course. Great song. All right, let's move on to this new one from Joey Badass called Fallin. I have a feeling that you enjoyed this one. Am I right?
Joey's on some love song shit, man. I love it.
I knew you would, especially the instrumental on this one. It's got that really jazzy, soulful feel. I really dug it. I just wish that he actually rapped over it a little bit more, but I do enjoy it. Okay, moving on to one you threw on here from Hammond Jr. and GoldLink called 199. Talk to me about this one.
So for those who don't know, Hammond Jr. is the guitarist for The Strokes. And I saw Hammond Jr. and I saw GoldLink and I said, this is weird. So I listened to it and I really liked it. So I threw it on the playlist. Very interesting collaboration for Albert, but I think that it does work. It is weird, though, that I'm pretty sure Hammond Jr. announced an album or a project to go along with this. It's weird that we would get that before we got a new Strokes album, because I know as of like mid last year, a Strokes album had been like done being recorded. So who knows?
We'll have to see how that shakes out. But I'm going to have to disagree with you on this one, man. Beyond little parts in the instrumental, I did not think this one worked. I thought it was as weird of a collaboration as you thought it was when you saw the pairing on paper. But I'm glad you enjoyed this one.
Yeah, man. I didn't hate it, which I thought I was going to hate it, but I didn't hate it. I thought it was pretty neat.
Moving on, we got a new one from Arizona called Dark Skies. I thought this one was good. We've been covering them for a while now, and all of their music sounds kind of the same to me. Some songs lean more in one direction than the other, but it's all kind of indie pop rock at its core, which has always been a subgenre that I've struggled to get into. But I haven't disliked any of their music. I haven't really loved any of it either, but I'm excited to get the chance to make a full opinion when their new album drops May 12th.
I'm excited.
Are you excited for that one?
Yeah, man, I'm excited for you to have like more of a formed opinion based on like an entire project. And I really love how you and I wait for entire projects to form full opinions. But look, man, this is catchy, it's poppy, and it's got like this kind of dark vibe to it thanks to the down tuning of the bass. And I actually really liked this song, man.
Yeah, I didn't think it was bad. I'm curious about the album. I threw it on our release radar, so we will be checking that one out when it drops.
Yep.
Moving on, we got a new one from Beach Fossils called Dare Me. How are you enjoying this one?
Yeah, this is a Beach Fossils song. You can tell by the way that it is. Look, man, I've been a fan of Beach Fossils for 3 or 4 years now, and I for some reason I just can't get fucking enough of them. Like, I just love it. I've pre-ordered this album, and I'm excited to hear it in full at this point. I think it comes out also in May. I think it comes out early next month. So, no, it actually comes out in June.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a little ways out, but June 2nd.
Yep.
This is another group where all of their music sounds kind of the same to me, but I think they do it a little bit better than a lot of groups we cover who I'd lump into the same category. I've enjoyed both singles they've dropped, and I'm looking forward to the album.
You know, I think surf rock specifically is one of those subgenres that is difficult to. You can't. It's like techno. There are certain rules and like sounds that are associated with it, and if you want to make something like it, you have to work within those rules. I think that Beach Fossils does a very good job of innovating within the rules that are set before them for the sound that they're going for,
Yeah.
and I think we're going to be pretty surprised by their project. So they're kind of like real estate to me. I know how it's going to sound. It's going to be different than their last album. It's not going to be very different, but it's going to be different, and I know I'm going to like it. That's kind of my
I
perspective.
think that's fair. Innovating within the rules is a good way to put it.
Right.
All right, let's move on to this new one from Trash called Fire Department. We have arrived at our MySpace song of the week. I don't know if we've covered this group before or not, but I really dug this track. It's a lot of fun. Wish it was a little bit longer. That's what she said, but it's a good one. How are you feeling about it?
Twinkly emo music, so hot right now. Oh man, I love it. I really like this band, so good for them.
All right, tell me about this one you threw on here called Poundland of Hope and Glory by a group called Therapy.
So, thank you for putting that question mark inflection
Had
there.
to.
I hadn't heard of this band until like late last year. Apparently, they're kind of a big deal in like the early and the like mid '90s grunge scene across the pond, if you will.
Okay.
I was never informed about this. The song is good. I had followed them late last year. This is a new single from a new album of theirs. So I really liked this song. I thought it was really good, and I'm excited to kind of dive into their past music and then also into their new music. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I don't think I've heard of a grunge rock group from Northern Ireland before, but I
Right.
definitely like it. The track's a little repetitive, but I think it works.
Again, I was not informed.
Well, now you are. All right, let's move on to this new one from Fear Factory called New Messiah. How are you feeling about it?
All right. We have two new re-releases slash remasters scheduled this year for Fear Factory. This is a new song off of Industrialize, but I really added this song not only because it's a new song, but they have replaced their singer, which we talked about when we listened to their last album last year, or was it the year before, Aggression Continuum. They've replaced their vocalist, Burton C. Bell, with a different vocalist. From my understanding, they found the new vocalist, which is not featured on this track, which we'll probably hear new music from either late this year or early next year, by checking out YouTube cover videos. And I really wanted to hear your thoughts about that approach for bands finding new vocalists.
I I think it's fine. I think anywhere you can find somebody that fits what you're looking for, it
Bro,
doesn't
I think
matter,
that's
really.
awesome. I think that is
Yeah.
so cool, man, that they're like, you know what?
Or
We need to find somebody who sounds similar. Let's check out random people covering our songs on YouTube. That's just fuel for people to get out there and to get out there and put their passion out there. And I think that that's fucking awesome.
well, this is like when J. Cole recently looked up J. Cole type beats on YouTube and grabbed one and randomly actually recorded lyrics over it and
Wait,
sent
did
it to
he?
the guy.
I
Yeah.
didn't know this.
Yeah. I'll send. We'll put it in our show notes. I'll send it to you after the show. Yeah,
That's
he
fucking
looked. He
awesome.
was like looking for music while working on music and typed in J. Cole type beat, found one that some dude made, rapped over it, and posted it up, and pretty
That's
much said
fucking
like,
awesome.
yeah, pretty rad.
What'd you think of this song, New Messiah? It is a new song we've never heard from Fear Factory.
Uh, I found myself nodding along to it every time it came on this week.
For sure. Nice.
Yeah, definitely didn't dislike it.
Neat.
Moving on to this new one from Unearth called Into the Abyss. This track is fucking rad, dude. It's giving me some like As I Lay Dying or Haste the Day vibes, and I'm fucking digging it. And that fucking guitar solo part shoved in the
Yep.
middle. Just beautiful, man. Really good stuff. You enjoying this one too?
So this was my runner-up for Song of the Week,
Okay,
and if I had
fair.
listened to this one more than that KAYTRAMINE song or that KAYTRAMINE song, I probably would have chosen this one. But my man, this album is going to be so good. I am smelling an album of the year contender for metalcore at the very least, in like that subgenre. And we're only like a few singles in, man. Like both of the other singles, it's tight, it's groovy, it's full of both metal and hardcore content. That, in my opinion, is they just have the purest metalcore sound. If somebody wanted to hear what metalcore sounded like, I would tell them to just shuffle Unearth's discography. This is pure. There's breakdowns, there's guitar solos, there are double kick grooves. Like it's so good, man.
Their new album, The Wretched, The Ruinous, comes out May 5th. That one's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, sure will.
Well, let's go from that straight into a Harp cover of a Nirvana song. Talk to me about this one.
I just wanted you to hear it, man. I think it's really silly and unnecessary, but here we are.
Well, thank you for adding it. I enjoyed it. I love the harp, man. It's a fucking beautiful instrument. I follow this girl on Instagram who does like renditions of R&B songs on her harp surrounded by her plants. And I always stop and listen when they come on.
It's amazing.
Hearing a Nirvana song played on a harp, though, feels like a fucking glitch in the Matrix. But
Right?
the more I listened to it, the more I liked it.
I liked it. I think it's, again, I still do think that it's kind of silly.
It is. It's very silly, of course. All right, we got a couple of EPs this week. One from Ignez called Adventurine. That's our first one up. Talk to me about it.
All right, so we covered Ignez's singles with Roadhad a few weeks ago, and I hit that follow button on Ignez, and here we go with a new EP. Look, man, this is techno. That's about that's my notes.
Yes. Yeah, leave it to him to deliver us a fresh pack of pure uncut techno like this, man.
It is very pure.
It's the type of music best enjoyed in like a dingy club in Berlin where everybody wears way too much black. But I'm glad he gave us this so I can work on my dance moves for our eventual trip to the motherland of dance music.
Exactly.
Yes, thank you, Ignez. All right, let's move on to this one from South Pacific called Radar Road. You threw this one on here. Wasn't expecting some shoegaze this week, but I really enjoyed it. Tell me about this band and how you enjoyed this EP.
Look, man, I don't know how I found this band. I don't know how they came up in my notification bell. I had followed them at some point over what I'm assuming the last few years. I liked it. It's mostly instrumental shoegaze, and man, I think that's neat.
Yeah, man. Some weeks I love shoegaze, some weeks I hate it. This week, I loved it.
There you
The
go.
whole EP is just quality music to vibe to and offered some truly beautiful moments throughout its brief runtime. There's really not a miss on it, but that title track that kicks it off is just pure artwork.
Yes, sir.
Hitting on a lot of those same notes that like Paranol does at their best.
Yep.
That would be a fucking hell of a tour, by the way.
Imagine.
Yes, that would be fucking rad.
Yep.
Two short but very fun EPs. Thanks for adding those.
Yeah.
All right, man. You ready to talk about the albums?
Let's talk about some albums, John.
All right, man. First up, we got Ellie Goulding's album, Higher Than Heaven. What are your thoughts on it?
All right, man. This is a pretty straightforward dance pop album. Her voice is her voice. It is iconic in dance music, and she's clearly still got it here. I have liked apparently 2 for 2 Big Sean features on albums this year, so that's interesting.
What is wrong?
I honestly don't have too much to say about this album, man. I enjoyed it, but it kind of blends together after a while. There's not a lot of variation in how her songs kind of like sound, I guess. It's just it's just a number of attempts at pop bangers, except for like dance pop bangers, except for maybe Waiting for It. Other than that, I did like the album. I'm going to give it somewhere around a mid 6. My standout is Let It Die. What did you think about Ellie Goulding's Higher Than Heaven?
I love your review of Her Voice is Her Voice. I think she should use that on her marketing material. I thought it was fine. I didn't get much from it. It's tonally and rhythmically repetitive, and even though I occasionally enjoyed it, Most of the production was super bland and boring. I enjoyed a few tracks though. Cure for Love, Waiting for It, and Better Man were all solid. My standout though was also Let It Die. It's the first time in years she's reminded me of the artist I remember being blown away by when I first heard Lights,
Yep.
and it's cool to hear traces back to that era in her sound today. Overall, though, I'm feeling like a 5 or a 6 on this one. It's okay, but I would not go out of my way to listen to it again.
Yeah, it's not going on my album of the year list.
It should go on your album of the year list. All right. Let's move on to this new one from Daniel Caesar called Never Enough. Dude does not miss, man. The album opens with my two favorite songs on it, Ocho Rios and Valentina, both perfect and should be added to all of his essential mixes immediately. The singles sound better within the context of the full album, and album cuts like Disillusioned and Buyer's Remorse are incredible. I'm giving this one an 8. My standouts are the first two tracks, but Disillusioned and Vincent Van Gogh were pretty close runners up as well. How are you
Vincent
feeling about it?
Vincent Van Gogh is a good song, man.
I love that one.
All right, so as you know, this is not my speed of R&B. For what it is, though, it is fucking great. Daniel Caesar's voice is just really phenomenal, man. There's no denying it here. The production is a little too down tempo for me, but there's like a lot of classic love songs and like some ballads to hear on this one. And even though it kind of drags for me due to the tempo, like as a project, I think it's very well produced and performed. I will come back to it when I'm feeling a little bit more like in this mood. We'll see how it
Sure.
resonates with me. I wasn't really in this mood all week. But look, man, the strings on Pain is Inevitable are gorgeous behind his voice. Unstoppable is a great closer for the album. And Vincent Van Gogh is such a good track, man. Positive vibes and
Yes.
confidence, recurring themes throughout the album. I'm gonna give it a 7. My standouts are either Vincent Van Gogh or Pain is Inevitable.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. I wasn't expecting you to be blown away by it. Like you said, I know this isn't exactly your tempo, but I knew there'd be a lot on here you would enjoy.
Yeah, and I sure did.
Yeah, revisit it later in the year. I think you'll dig it.
I'm sure I will, man.
Let's move on to this new one from They called New Moon. I had really high expectations for this, and it lived up to all of them. As is the case with all of their albums, it's perfectly imperfect. It's messy, it's rough around the edges, but that's what makes it the They album, and that's what makes it great. They dropped a bunch of singles, and I'm pretty sure they all made the album. And while I wasn't really thinking of cohesion as they were all being released, I think they all fit together pretty well. They really locked in on a production style for this project, which
Yep.
allowed them to curate a more specific vibe than usual. And I think it benefited them. They managed to land in that rare space of having this album feel meticulously crafted, but not overthought. There's too many highlights on here for me to talk about all of them. So I'll just run through some of the favorites off the top of my head. We got the weird ticka ticka clock ad lib on In the Mood. Love that. The arpeggiated guitar on the Moonlight instrumental,
Yep.
everything about Blue Moon, that pitched up lo-fi hip hop collab on 301 Freestyle, and the weird but kind of great Casey Musgraves collab. I don't really agree with the sentiment of the song, but it's so well done that it's hard not to vibe along
Who
to.
would
And
have
you,
thought?
yeah, like I really don't agree with it, but like they sing it so convincingly. I'm just like, you should wait for him. You should. He doesn't deserve it, but you totally should. Yeah, only they could make me think a fuck boy thought like that is rational. The Weeknd and Drake are quivering with jealousy hearing that, I'm sure. I don't know what else to say about this one, man. I love it. It's probably an 8. I'm gonna bump it up to a 9 because I really do dig it. My standout's Blue Moon because how could it not be? How
Yeah.
are you feeling about it?
Well, these guys have a confidence to them that elevates their music to just another level, man. And it complements the production on every single track. At 42 minutes, it's the perfect length for this type of album. I love how they don't lean too heavily on features. They just get in there and they do it. The features they do have, though, on the record are great, and they fit well into every track that they're on, especially that Casey Musgraves feature, which, again, I don't agree with, but I appreciate the song. The overlaid acoustic guitars throughout the album are fucking awesome, and they really do, like you said, curate a vibe here. I think as it slows down towards the end of the album, it's like kind of starts to drag for me. I genuinely don't understand why artists do this. They kind of like slow it down towards like just past the halfway mark. I just like either do that up front and build up or don't. Maybe that's just me. I think I'm Just Going Through the Motions is a great closer and a really cool feature from Black Bear. Overall, I liked this album. I'm going to come back to it throughout the year for sure. It's most definitely an 8 for me, and Blue Moon is the best song on the album.
Yes, yes. Glad you're coming around. I mean, you've always been a fan of they. I'm just glad that our tastes are aligned in pretty much what we enjoy about them.
Yeah. This album was really easy to see why I've liked them for so long, you know?
Yeah. And this is easily I don't know if it's their most R&B project today, but it's up there.
For sure.
All right. Let's talk about this new Wednesday album, Rat Saw God. I've been interested in hearing your thoughts on this one all week, so please dive in.
Well, I don't really know where to start with this record, man. I really like the music, and I'm glad that they're getting some recognition because I really do like the band. I was not prepared for so many of the kind of yodeling voice cracks over and over and over again. It is done well in some areas and then not so much and super kind of grating in some areas. Other than that specific thing that rubbed me the wrong way kind of throughout the album, I do think this album is really good. And when I was able to kind of ignore the fact that annoyed me, the rest of the instrumentals and the lyrics and all of that came together, man. It's got that indie rock feel and also like a little bit of that 90s grunge feel. I think they have a pretty unique sound. It kind of reminds me of a cross between like the Beths, the Cranberries, and anything that Karen O is involved in.
Interesting. Okay.
When we first reviewed this band, they had a little bit less than 100,000 monthly listeners when we reviewed the first single we ever reviewed from them. They have quadrupled that number with the singles, marketing, and release of this album. That is a giant feat. I don't know. I mean, you can tell they work pretty hard. And I'm really glad they're getting their flowers with honest and vulnerable lyrics, unique instrumentals, and clearly emotional vocal inflections. I think that this album will end up on quite a few year-end lists. It'll probably be in the top 15 of Pitchforks. And I'm not sure where it'll end for me at the end of the year, but I will say that I did really like it. Somewhere between a 7 and an 8 for me. What did you think about it?
Overall, I liked it. It kicks off with two bangers of completely different varieties. The loud and to the point Hot Rotten Grass Smell, and the also loud but slightly more sprawling and complex Bull Believer, which also turned out to be my standout. But after those two tracks, my enjoyment of this album started to come and go. Got Shocked is a very solid album cut, but they start to lose me with Formula One and Chosen to Deserve before getting things slightly back on track with Bath County. The album remains a hit and miss for me from there, but I think it had more hits than misses, so I'm going to give it a 6. And yeah, Bull Believer is my standout.
Did I not say that's also my standout?
Oh, you did not, but I assumed. It feels like it's easily the best one on the album, and I agree with you. I think they are going to get a lot of critical acclaim at the end of this year, which good for them.
Yeah, good for them, man. I think they deserve it. I think that they're putting in the work and or the marketing dollars, and they're making it happen.
I agree. All right, man. Let's wrap it up this week with this new album from Thomas Bangalter of Daft Punk. This one's called Mythologies. What do you think of his orchestral debut?
How do you rate a classical album? Because
you don't.
Like, there's so much that goes into it. So I'm just going to spoil my review. I did not give this one a score. Not because it doesn't like deserve a score, but because I just don't feel qualified to. This is beautiful at times. It's haunting at times. And it is fully within Bangalter's wheelhouse. I have always maintained that electronic music and classical music have so many similarities. There's builds, there's strong and sharp instrumentals, there's crescendos, there's kind of like the lawlessness of like an open soundscape, as there aren't really many rules unless you like care about subgenre categorization. And Look, man, I think this is composed and performed beautifully, and I can't really say anything else, man. I was engaged for the whole hour and a half every time I listened to it, and while I haven't listened to it as much classical music as I probably should have in my lifetime, I
Mhm.
really liked this one, man. This was pretty cool. What did you think about it?
I agree and echo all of your sentiments, man. It's a beautiful piece of music, and it's not the least bit surprising that he can compose epic orchestral pieces like this just as well as he made dance music. I didn't score it, but I fucking enjoyed it.
Nice. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, man.
Yeah. Is this one you're gonna seek out on vinyl?
No.
No, I think he did an interview with Pitchfork though, talking about creating this out of the death of Daft Punk, which is a pretty interesting read if you want to check it out.
I did. He talks about AI a little bit, which is an interesting concept.
Yeah. We should throw that in the show notes if anybody else wants to check it out.
We'll do that.
Do you want to know what we're going to be talking about next week?
Fuck yeah, I do, man.
All right. So we are going to be talking about new albums from Black Thought, Metallica, White Fang, Magdalena Bay. We'll be recapping weekend one of Coachella and a whole lot more. I'm already looking forward to it. Drink every time we say Lars or double kick drum next week. If you're watching Coachella on YouTube, stream the Caliuchis set. Anything else before we get out of here?
No, I'm good. I'm good, man.
All right. We'll see y'all next time. Peace.
Peace.